you know, like we just made like an album. That's crazy, and we're just like friends, and I get to like hang out with my friends and do cool stuff like all the time, and that's just awesome.
I'm Cricket. I play drums. My pronouns are they, them.
I'm Ellie. I play bass and clarinet and sometimes melodica also, and I do some vocals and I use any pronouns.
My name is Lauren, and I play the guitar, and I yell, and I sometimes do keyboard, or I like, what's that called when you give people the cracker? Communion. I did communion one time, and I go by any pronouns.
Okay, so we all met in like high school, and I think I was like, I remember thinking one time during lunch, I was like, I want to start a band, because like I've wanted to start a band since I was like 12, like, yeah, I've been wanting to start a band since I was like 12, and then I knew these people who also liked music, and I was like, we should start a band, and you guys also wanted to start a band too, so that's kind of where it like started, I feel like.
It was very much by chance. It's kind of like, I don't know, how you hear about people talk about like the good old days, like your friends were the people who owned the same 3 like the Beatles records or whatever. It kind of felt like that. It's just like we happened to be in the same place at the same time, and we were all kind of like cool and weird in the same way.
I'm really glad that I live somewhere with like such a prominent like DIY scene, because especially that's like kind of like artsy in nature, and I don't know, I feel like queer art also like pushes boundaries, because I feel like our like, I think we'd be really discouraged if we lived like in a community where like it wasn't very DIY and it wasn't very like accepting, because like for the longest time people like compare us to like the Shags or other outside artists, and it did kind of feel insulting, but it never was an insult. It was just like, you guys remind me of like this outsider artist, and people were like down for that. And I think having like a community like that is really important, because I don't think we would be like a band without that kind of community.
I hate the radio.
I don't like the radio.
I hate the government.
I don't like the government.
I feel like for a long time it was, and still kind of is, pretty like boxy, you know, like if you asked me like a year and a half ago to think of like a popular lesbian musician, I would say Pink, but now there's like Chappell Roan or whatever, and there's, I don't know, I feel like there are kind of new openings for queer artists, at least in the mainstream, but in terms of DIY, I would say that there are definitely, at least in Denver, there's definitely kind of like a distinct queer scene.
I'm keeping it very breathy, but I'm also not adding any like vibrato or anything.
I don't think we should add any vibrato.
Okay.
I don't think there should be any vibrato at all.
I'm matching your tone.
Okay.
Exactly, so.
We're Aunt Carlene. I'm Elle. I play bass and I sing, and my pronouns are they, them.
Hi, I'm Michael. I sing and I play keys. My pronouns are he, him.
The queer community in Fort Collins is interesting, and it's big, but it's also really small. And I feel like one person knows another person, and then suddenly you know.
You've dated everyone.
Yeah, you've dated and
Or fucked everyone.
talked to or fucked every lesbian in Fort Collins, and it's, I don't know, it's a really nice space, and I feel like CSU, as much as I have my gripes with the university as of late, it is a really inclusive and like freeing space to be in, and especially just like being surrounded by so many queer people is really great. And our place of work is also really, really accepting. I think as a whole, like, big style music industry right now, it's kind of being applauded, but in a palatable way, you know? Like, I'm talking about, like, as much as I love Phoebe Bridgers, who is a bisexual woman who, like, primarily dates men, and, like, the, like, cunty little, like, gay musicians like Troye Sivan, like, when it's palatable, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's definitely a dichotomy between the queer musicians that are allowed versus the queer musicians who are like, no.
We were able to joke and like honor our identities, like very much so, just by how we speak and act and are. But we like you know how like we joke and we do all that stuff. Can you explain that, Miss Mattel?
Me and Michael just kind of like, I don't know. It's making the straight members of our band mildly uncomfortable by speaking in a lot of queer dialect, and then just like it like forcefully making it our space and leaving little room for the straights. And when it comes for performing, I feel like we're really lucky to be based in Fort Collins. Like a lot of the venues here like have the little rainbow in their window and like are like, if anything, trying to uplift queer musicians in a way.
Yeah, and then empower them and then like invite them into that space. Because I feel like some venues would not be as inviting, but we are lucky to be in Fort Collins in that way.
Absolutely, and there's resources like Blast and Scrap, which is a great nonprofit that like definitely tries to uplift queer voices, and I think that like organizations like that is just another reason why we're really lucky to be here in Fort Collins. Valentine's Day, crying in the hotel. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
For me, it's I like listening to all types of music. Like I grew up in a classical pianist background, and then I went to jazz, and then now I'm here. But like I like listening to. Like I've been on a Pierce the Veil kick, but I also really love Ariana, and I love Troy, and I love Billy. So it's pulling from sources all around. So like Hiatus Coyote and Wolfpack and Radiohead and Troye Sivan. I think that's great. I also am very inspired to create with people like the people in my band. It's just really fun to get to work with open-minded people.
Yeah, we definitely took a while to find our sound because all of us have like vast music tastes. Like my primary genre that I listen to is like grunge and like metal and but like I would rather perform like jazzier and stuff like that because I grew up in a singing background. Like primarily, and then I switched to guitar and then I switched to bass. And my bass playing is definitely heavily inspired by like Amy Winehouse and like Wolfpack and Stevie Wonder, definitely. Valentine's Day, crying no, you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
I think for me, it's just that as I was like growing up and like discovering music, I was drawn to like very queer artists or like gay icons. Like I listened to a lot of Lady Gaga when I was 12, and then I didn't know or didn't really accept that I was gay but then I was listening to a lot of Lady Gaga. How did you not know that? I don't know. I felt like the music I listened to didn't really like help me come out, but it was just like a facet of who I was in my identity, and then it just took me a second to catch up. Yeah, I was on the buy now, gay later train. So when I came out, I was like, I think I might be gay, I might even be bi, and then I turned out to just be fully gay. It was hard because I grew up in Wyoming in a like conservative Christian Asian household, and so I really was just really repressed. But being able to be here, that environment has been helpful, and then being with really supportive people has also been helpful. I think the environment is really important, because if you don't feel welcome or safe, then you aren't safe to express that part of yourself. So now I'm fully out, and I just try to be a role model slash, because I am like trying to be a music teacher, so I want to be able to be an example of, oh, this person is this, and it's okay to be this.
How could you do this to me?
I feel like there's a lot of like, not that music itself is queer, but like there's like in the history of music itself, there's like it's intersectional.
Did I?